Halo, selamat siang. Kembali lagi bersama dengan saya, Fitria Ayuning Tias, di mata kuliah Public Speaking. Mohon maaf sebelumnya karena harus mereschedule jadwal mata kuliah ini. Senang bertemu dengan kalian kembali.
Today, when we hear the word rhetoric, we might think of it in modern terms, particularly in relation to politics. In fact, as long as we've been able, human beings have used speech to argue and persuade, with varying degrees of success. The Greeks were among the first to make a formal study of persuasive speech. After the establishment of democracy, decisions were no longer made by one all-powerful leader. Suddenly, in order to accomplish anything, you had to convince a whole bunch of people to vote for your idea. As a result, the ability to make speeches and persuade audiences became one of the most prized skills, and people who could teach public speaking were in high demand. One of the most famous of these was the philosopher Aristotle. He wrote the most influential text on rhetoric in Western history, which is still used in classes today. The study of rhetoric was not just confined to Europe. Many cultures were developing the art and skill of persuasive speech, particularly in the Islamic world during the Middle Ages. Rhetoric experienced a rebirth in Europe during the Renaissance and Reformation. In England in the 17th and 18th centuries, dozens of treatises and textbooks of rhetoric were produced, and it formed a standard part of a grammar school and university education. Persuasive writing and oratory soon crossed the Atlantic to spur on the American Revolution. Rhetoric formed a key part of the education of statesmen and leaders whose words we still remember today, including those who had to teach themselves, like Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. We're not wearing togas anymore, or powdered wigs. But in the age of mass media, the ability to communicate your message and to interpret the messages of others is more important than ever. This doesn't just apply to journalism or politics, and it doesn't mean arguing all the time. In fact, whether at work, in school, on social media, or around the kitchen table, we are constantly participating in civic discussion and finding ourselves in situations where it is important to articulate our thoughts. In this course, we'll be focusing on American examples, but the history of rhetoric is the history of all of us. The concepts you'll learn apply to every culture and every language. With enough practice, you too can become an accomplished rhetorician. Let's get started.